Billionaire throws food at Black Waitress, but her unexpected response changes everything. What if I told you that sometimes the greatest strength isn't found in anger, but in grace? Imagine this. The gentle chime of glassware, low murmurs of conversation, linen tablecloths glowing beneath golden light. A place where birthdays are toasted and contracts are signed over fine wine. Now picture that calm being broken by an act so ugly, so shocking, that it would ripple through an entire community's heart. This is the story of Danielle Brooks, a 35-year-old waitress whose response to cruelty proved that real power often speaks softly. Her choice that night reminded the world that dignity is never about what's thrown at you. It's about what you refuse to throw back. For 3 years, the Willow Crest had been Danielle's second home. She started as a dishwasher, then moved to bussing tables, and eventually became lead waitress. Guests trusted her. Colleagues leaned on her. Regulars often asked, "Is Danielle working tonight?" She loved the little details, knowing that Mr. Hargrove preferred his tea piping hot without sugar, or that Mrs. Patel always asked to switch out mashed potatoes for rice. At 35, Danielle was piecing her life back together. Every tip went into her nursing fund. She'd already completed half of her degree before family tragedy forced her to put school aside. Now, she was determined to finish. That Tuesday evening felt routine at first. The dining room buzzed with birthdays, anniversaries, business dinners. Danielle had just served creme brulee to a couple when Victor Langston walked in. Everyone in town knew him. Tech billionaire, local hero in newspapers, philanthropist. His company's recent IPO had made him one of the richest men in the state. Langston arrived with 3 sharply dressed colleagues. Danielle greeted them, escorted them to their reserved table by the wide front windows, and recited the specials with polished warmth. But before long, she felt the atmosphere shift. As the wine kept flowing, Langston's voice grew harsher. His laughter was louder, his remarks edged with arrogance. When Danielle brought appetizers, he ignored her completely. When she returned to check on entrees, he dismissed her with a flick of his hand. She'd dealt with entitled guests before, but something in his gaze made her uneasy. The sideways smirks from his colleagues, the way his tone carried, meant to be overheard. The breaking point came when Danielle approached with dessert menus. Langston, mid-argument about some merger, grabbed her wrist suddenly. "You want to know your problem?" His words slurred, but his grip firm. "People like you think you matter, walking around acting like you belong." The entire restaurant fell silent. Forks froze halfway in mouths. Danielle's heart thudded in her chest, but her voice stayed measured. "Sir, I'm only here to clear the table. Would you prefer I send the manager?" Langston sneered. "Don't tell me what I want. You think that apron makes you equal to me? You're nothing more than the help." Danielle gently pulled her wrist free. She had lived through worse, working double shifts, raising her younger sister after their parents passed. She had learned that dignity was something no one could steal unless she handed it over. Then it happened. Langston picked up his dinner plate, still smeared with steak and potatoes, and hurled it at her chest. Food splattered across Danielle's uniform. Ceramic shattered against the floor, the crash echoing through the hushed dining room. Every eye was on her. She could have shouted. She could have stormed out. She could have called the police. Instead, she crouched. Piece by piece, she gathered the shards, placing them carefully on a tray as though even broken things deserve respect. The silence was so deep that the clinking of porcelain fragments seemed to thunder. When she stood again, plate pieces in her hands, she met Langston's eyes, not with fury, but with something gentler. "Mr. Langston," she said evenly, "I don't know what's hurting you tonight, but I sincerely hope tomorrow is kinder to you." His face paled. His companions fidgeted in shame. Danielle turned to leave, but Langston caught her arm again, this time his grip weaker, almost trembling. "What did you just say?" She faced him calmly. "I said, I hope tomorrow is better for you. My grandmother used to remind me, hurt people hurt people. When someone tries to break you down, it's usually because they feel broken inside." The words hung in the air. Danielle could almost hear her grandmother's voice from years earlier, comforting her after classmates mocked her worn shoes. "Baby girl, Don't carry their pain in your heart. Send them love. It's the only medicine. She placed the broken porcelain on a side tray. I forgive you, not because your behavior was acceptable, but because holding on to anger would harm me more than it ever harms you. Langston sank into a seat, suddenly small. His colleagues looked away. Danielle walked to the kitchen, her spine straight, her stained apron a badge of strength. What Danielle didn't know was that Rosa Delgado, a local reporter dining with her family nearby, had recorded the entire incident. By dawn, the video was everywhere. Headlines blazed. Waitress responds to billionaire's humiliation with grace. Social media overflowed with outrage at Langston and admiration for Danielle. Teachers showed the clip to their students. Families shared around dinner tables. By the second day, national networks were covering it. When Danielle returned to Willowcrest, news crews crowded the sidewalk. Inside, her manager Harold Jennings pulled her aside. Danielle, I need you to know we're standing behind you. We've banned Victor Langston permanently. That kind of behavior will never be tolerated here. Then he handed her a bundle of letters. These came for you today. From guests who were here. From strangers across the country. From people who just saw the video. Her hands trembled as she read. A teacher in Michigan explaining how her students discuss what dignity really means. A retired soldier in Texas enclosing a check for Danielle's nursing school fund. A grieving mother from Oregon confessing that Danielle's words gave her courage to forgive someone she thought she never could. And, astonishingly, a handwritten note arrived from Victor Langston himself. Miss Brooks, I cannot defend what I did. Your response reminded me that all the money in the world is worthless without basic decency. I've begun therapy. I've made a donation to your nursing education. I am also instituting dignity and respect programs across my companies. Thank you for teaching me, in one moment, what I had forgotten. Half a year later, Danielle crossed the stage to receive her nursing degree. From the audience, her younger sister Leah cheered until her voice broke. The scholarship fund that began with Langston's donation and swelled with contributions from thousands of strangers had not only covered Danielle's final year, but would also fund the dreams of dozens of other students. Hospitals across the state reached out with offers. But Danielle chose to work at her hometown county hospital, the same place her grandmother had been treated with compassion in her final days. On her desk, she kept a framed photo of her grandmother and a small piece of pottery she had shaped in ceramics class, a bowl made from broken fragments fused back together. It reminded her that broken things, when carefully restored, could become stronger and more beautiful. Langston never returned to the Willow Crest, but he kept his promise. His companies became known for employee dignity initiatives. And on the week of Danielle's graduation, a card arrived in her mailbox. Thank you for reminding me that the truest strength lies in kindness. Victor. Danielle often thought back to that night when patients tested her patience or families cracked under stress. Her grandmother's words stayed with her. Hurt people, but love people heal people. And outside the Willow Crest, a small plaque gleamed. Every guest is treated with respect and dignity. Sometimes, after late shifts, Danielle would pause outside the restaurant and smile. That night, she hadn't lost her dignity. She had claimed it for herself and for everyone watching. In her pocket, she always carried a tiny ceramic heart her grandmother once gave her. A reminder that though others may try to break you, the way you choose to heal is your greatest power. Sparkles if the story touched you. Share it, because the world needs reminders that grace can be stronger than hate.